Good day, one and all. My name is James Howe. I'm the chairman of IABC Asia Pacific for 2021-22, and I'm here today with an extraordinary guest. Before we introduce him, I would like to greet the members of International Association of Business Communicators Asia Pacific, as well as our viewers from across the region and around the globe. For 3 consecutive years now, we've been running the Communicator of the Year Awards for IABC Asia Pacific, and the quality and standard of applicant has increased each year. This year took it to an absolute new level. It was extremely hard for the judges to be able to determine a winner. Each vote and points was extremely close. But as a result, though, we have the privilege of a sit-down interview, although it's virtual this year, with our senior communication professional winner. From a roster of very impressive nominees, it was difficult to say the least to assess who would be bringing home this prestigious award. But alas, we did manage to narrow it down. This year's awardee has over 20 years of communications experience, 22 years in fact, and one of his many notable works includes conducting India's first ever international communication workshop. He's also an esteemed member of the Public Relations Council of India Hall of Fame. I can go on about his distinctions all day, but without further ado, I'm honoured to present to you the 2022 IABC Asia Pacific Communicator of the Year Senior Communication Professional winner, Anisu Verghese. Welcome, Anisu. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
I'm absolutely delighted to have you here with you. So thanks so much for sharing your time with us. Let's just hop on to the first question. How does it feel to be the first award winner from India of the Communicator of the Year Award?
I feel humbled and very proud. It's a significant honor, and hopefully this will inspire many more communicators from the region.
Yeah, wonderful. No, thank you. And look, India's been a proud contributor to IABC for a while, a great active chapter there. It's really a great recognition to have an award winner from that chapter. Just to move down into some of the sort of practical applications and things that are happening in the communications world at the moment, companies are really starting to experience what's been phrased as the Great Resignation. As an internal communications expert, what advice can you give to communications professionals who are experiencing this phenomenon at the moment?
That's a great question, and I think organizations need to understand what it means for the function, for communicators, for leaders. And I think the great recognition is an acknowledgement of the evolving needs and aspirations of staff. They are looking for greater autonomy. They are looking to balance their personal and professional lives. They are looking for greater investment in their learning and development. So once organizations realize all these matter to their employees, there's a greater chance that they can reprioritize some of the investments. On the other hand, I also believe it's also important to listen and dig deeper and understand what employees really think. And I think listening is expected to be a great skill that leaders must have and communicators must have. And the last is organizations need to act on these insights so that they can enhance engagement and experience of employees.
Yeah, thank you. I think, certainly in my experience and talking to other communicators throughout the Asia Pacific region, and I'm sure it's the same globally, these last 2 years as we've gone through the pandemic have been unlike anything else. And in many ways, it's made communications within businesses more important than ever. What valuable lessons have you personally learned, and do you encourage and feel that communications professionals can learn from the pandemic?
Absolutely. You're right. The pandemic has upended how we view the workforce, view the work culture, and all that's happening around us. So to me, I think there are 3 key lessons. The first is about being flexible. With the number of channels that have existed and the add-on of digital communication that has suddenly seen an increase, there is a need for communicators to start re-engaging and understanding the newer channels that exist and what can be done better. The second lesson is to experiment and try out new ways of communicating with stakeholders, because the past and how we used to do it before is obviously not valid anymore. And as organizations head back to the workplace, there's going to still be a kind of hybrid model which will continue to exist. And the last is to listen very intently to what staff are saying. And there is obviously newer generations at the workplace, and therefore their aspirations are very different. So it's important to keep listening and understanding what they are hoping to achieve, and then trying to ensure that the purposes match in some form or the other.
Yeah, thank you. One thing that you mentioned there in particular was the emergence of new channels and the role of digital and the fact that essentially now anyone can be a content creator. One thing that I suppose that the flip side that's come out of that, and again we've probably seen a bit of this throughout the pandemic, is the emergence of disinformation.
Right.
In your view, what can communication professionals and organisations do to help fight disinformation?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's very relevant in today's world with the spike in disinformation that everyone is witnessing. I would think it's important to have a clear set of trusted sources and channels, and those need to be verified, of course, so that people know that they can get the right information when they need it. The second is to create and involve employees to form some kind of a forum where facts are checked before it's released. And I think the best way is to get everyone together to participate in this, because that's the only surefire way of ensuring that the content and the information is relevant and accurate. And the last is to enlist stakeholders in communicating back and engaging stakeholders again, because at the end of it, we all need to know if information is wrong, we're obviously heading down the wrong path and making wrong decisions. So I think these would be my recommendations.
Thank you for those. I think that they're three really practical steps that not just communicators could take, but I think it's sound information for anyone, especially as we go through these challenges. Speaking of challenges, you've had a long career in communications. What's the toughest challenge that you've had to face, and how did you overcome it?
Right. I think there are numerous challenges, but I think the one which stands out to me is most often communicators, especially internal communicators, find it hard to get a seat at the table. And in one of my previous employers, when I took on the role, the function was perceived very poorly. Stakeholders were unaware of the goals. Engagement was very, very, low key, and the priorities were not clear to them. So for me to go in there, understand and talk to stakeholders, listen clearly to what they wanted to achieve, and then restart and redirect the function in the right ways was obviously a challenge, because it was never done before, and therefore it was like resetting expectations from scratch. And the other aspects were also that you needed to educate stakeholders as to what the communication function is really meant to do and how they can partner with stakeholders to achieve their goals. And just by having a skin in the game, it makes a big difference. And the last is, of course, repurposing the priorities, ensuring that all the resources are used in the right direction and the right manner. Make sure, enhance the overall engagement that the stakeholders received. So as a result of all these, changes which I did, and in the interventions that happened in the organization, we could see a significant improvement in the brand and reputation of the firm. And also, when we did some stakeholder feedback, we realized that the perception started improving. So I would, highlight that.
No, thank you. Look, I think you've given lots of really sound advice in our discussion today. And personally, I'm taking a few things out of it as well to show that you can always keep learning. But particularly for the young generation, for those communicators who are just starting off on their exciting career journey, is there any specific advice that you would give to the young generation of communication leaders?
Absolutely. I think when I reflect on my journey and my career, I feel understanding the business is very, very crucial. You need to go the extra mile to absorb and be part of the organization's direction and purpose. And that's fundamental to how you connect communication to where the organization is heading. You can't really live in a silo, and that's crucial. The other is having a skin in the game, because if you have an organizational goal, then the communication goal has to very directly linked to where the organization is what the organization is trying to achieve. And therefore, having a skin in the game means then you are really, really involved. And the last is to invest in yourself, not just to grow yourself, but also to develop others. And one of the interventions that I always do is to conduct sessions and workshops and trainings for not just the communication team members, but managers and other leaders, so that they can get better with this function. So that's really my advice to young communication leaders.
That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Anissa. It's been my absolute honour to be able to sit down, chat with you, and introduce you to people within IABC, across the APAC region and across the globe. I would have loved to have done this in person, face to face. Hopefully, as the world starts to get to some sort of normality, I can get to India sometime in the future and organise to meet up. It would be absolutely wonderful. But look, this has been a really fruitful exchange nonetheless, and I've certainly got a lot out of it, and hopefully the viewers do as well. To those who are wanting to know more about IABC, and you want to sign and join up with us, get involved, learn from people like Anisu and other chapters around the world. Our sort of strategic theme at the moment is Stronger Together. And it's a great example of how you can learn so much from other communicators in your own local region, in other parts across Asia Pacific and right around the world. So I really encourage it. It's a great development and networking opportunity. You can pick ideas and share stories with people from right around the world. So encourage you to contact your local IABC chapter or visit iabcapac.com for more details. Look, that brings us close to an end for the 2022 Communicator of the Year Awards. Year by year, we learn from the best. I can't wait to see who we honour in next year's awards, but I'd really like to once again take the chance to congratulate Anisu, thank everyone who applied for the awards this year. And these awards wouldn't happen without our sponsors as well. So I'd like to really acknowledge iStentia and Telemedia for their support of the Communicator of the Year Awards. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you, Anisu. May you all stay safe and healthy and keep communicating. And please look forward to seeing Communicator of the Year Awards for 2023. Thanks everyone.